Hello all! You know, we're starting to run into the very nostalgically memed bands, and all the more reason that I should probably stand up for them and give them a talking point. And this week we're going to be talking about the B-52's. This band took so many turns musically, arguably from NoFX sort of new wave pop to something more in the realm of heavier produced and what have you, but their sound still rings through. And believe me when I say that their hits do not define their sound alone. So let me tell you why Rock Lobster was the least of it. The B-52's, an American new wave band formed in Athens, Georgia in 1976. The original lineup consisted of Fred Schneider on vocals, Kate Pearson on vocals and keyboards, Cindy Wilson on vocals and percussion, Ricky Wilson, lead guitar, and Keith Strickland on drums, rhythm guitar, and keyboards. After Ricky Wilson's death from AIDS-related illness in 1985, Strickland switched from drums to lead guitar. The band also added touring members for albums and live performances. Drawing from retro 1950s and 1960s pop sources, trash culture, and rock and roll, the group evidenced a thrift shop aesthetic. The guy versus gals vocals of Schneider, Pearson, and Wilson, sometimes used in call-and-response style, and their unique guitar and keyboard-driven instrumentation, composed their trademark sound. I would like to address the subject matter by the album. You see, one day, out of musical curiosity, I sat down and decided I wanted to listen to the self-titled debut album by the B-52's, The B-52's.
For one of the 7 stars that shine after 3:30 in the morning.
I'm a pretty big fan of the B-52's as of the past 8 years. However, before that time, it didn't really occur to me for the most part to try and look past Rock Lobster as a song and hear the rest of what they had to offer. It was just this song that I absorbed by cultural osmosis, and I just sort of knew that it existed. And lo and behold, I loved the friggin' album, but also it taught me to appreciate Rock Lobster a whole lot better. In my opinion, how that song sits in the album is part of what makes that song what it is. It gives you a level of just kind of getting what's going on, more so than if you were to just hear this hit song and then not listen to the album it came from. You hear Planet Claire, 52 Girls, and Dance This Mess Around, and suddenly, Rock Lobster seems to make a whole lot more sense.
Why don't you dance with me? I'm not no
I mean, listen to that chord. It's beautiful. Now, because the album, sorry, just one more time. It's like 100 car horns screaming in hell. Because the album was recorded intentionally to reflect their live sound as accurately as possible, they took a very less processed, minimal effects sort of route. The dry nature of the sounds that come from the album gives such a real and rich emptiness that just allows all the voices and instruments to crash through in all of their glory. It's the type of production you'd expect on the very early works of other bands, like Devo's Are We Not Men album is a pretty close estimate of that open-air sound, but even more so drawn back on production and in a very good way. I guess they were both considered new wave, so it makes sense. Music critic Robert Christgau awarded the album an A- grade in his Consumer Guide for The Village Voice, noting his fondness for the pop junk they recycle with love and panache, while also noting that he was more delighted with their rhythms, which show off their Georgia roots, by adapting the innovations of early funk, a decade late, just like the Stones and Chicago blues, to an endlessly danceable 4-beat format. The B-52's was included in the book 1001 Albums You Must Hear Before You Die. I can't help but agree. My listening habits on this band seem to jump from 1979 to 1989, as I decided to sit down and listen to the album Cosmic Thing, and something about this really hooked me immediately.
Just like a pneumatic drill. Don't let it go down the drain. You better hop on the cosmic wagon train.
The success of the album served as a comeback after the death of guitarist Ricky Wilson in 1985. 6 of the album's songs were produced by Nile Rodgers in New York City, and the remaining 4 by Don Was in upstate New York. The band embarked on the Cosmic Tour to promote the album. The difference in sound from the change of lineup and the jump from the late 70s to the late 80s of new wave music was jarring, but very pleasing. Even more polished, their sound doesn't suffer, and they maintain a special and unique style that is positively timeless. My favorite tracks from this album? Dry County. I love the synth and the rhythm of this song. Deadbeat Club was a great listen. Junebug was fantastic. The song Channel Z was about a fictional radio station whose motto was Channel Z, all static, all day, forever.
Space junk, laser bombs, ozone holes, better put up my umbrella.
Fred Schneider's lines in this song deal mainly with degradation of the environment, a topic dear to him. He warns of ozone holes, waste dumps, and toxic fog. There's a lot going on in this song, and I welcome you to draw your own conclusions as to what all this song is saying. Lastly, regarding this album, it also had a bit of a hit that got a fair deal of airplay, which I didn't really so much enjoy until I heard the rest of the album. It really also gave me that same sort of feeling of appreciation that I did for Rock Lobster in that earlier album, and I am talking about the song Rome. I didn't think much of that song the first few times I heard it, but over time, I grew to really genuinely like it. And I don't know if it was the production or the sound of the guitars on it, but it just really grew on me. You can take your listening journey with this band pretty much wherever the hell you want at this point, but those are the two albums I would pretty much introduce someone to them with, so I hope you give them a listen and enjoy them. The B-52's are some splendid ear candy. They are a staple of their earliest time in the most timeless of ways, and get this, the band is still active. You might live your whole life not genuinely giving these albums a listen, but I can tell you, your life will be missing something to not hear this band proper. Oh, and lastly, I wanted to let you all know that I have a Patreon now. You can find it at www.patreon.com/BriannaIsGreat, the name of the channel. I know I don't have a real fan base yet, but I'm beginning to take these videos and my own music a lot more seriously. As both of these endeavors are entirely fueled and created by me as a labor of love, it takes a lot of time and energy, so I figured it was time to ask for help. I plan in time on having more tiers and benefits, and I have 3 potential goals I want to meet eventually. I don't anticipate reaching any of these goals anytime soon, but it's giving me what to shoot for. It's a step forward, and I'm feeling really happy about it. If you enjoyed this video, please go down there and give it a like. If you disliked this video, please give it a dislike, and leave a comment talking about how much you hate my journalism skills. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and as always, my name is Brianna, and that was the least of it. Ciao!